Hello and welcome back to your second free video entitled The 7 Subtle Mistakes That Men Make That Ruin Their Chances with Women. My name is Joshua Pellissier, and today I'm going to go over just that. The 7 subtle mistakes that most men make that will absolutely obliterate any chances they have with the woman they are talking to moving forward. Even if he only does one of these different 7 mistakes. So it's very important. But first, I promised in this video that I would go over what to say in order to pass the compliance test, the congruence test, and the gender role test that I outlined in the last video. So I'm going to go into that first, and then we'll go into the 7 subtle mistakes that men make that will immediately obliterate their chances with women. If you remember, compliance tests from before are whenever a woman asks you to do something for her just for the sake of doing that thing, so she can see whether or not you're going to bend to her will, and ultimately tell whether or not you're used to beautiful women being attracted to you. So it comes across, and I think the example in the last video was, will you buy me a drink? Now there are lots of ways of getting past this. I'll give you one of the easiest ways to do it, and then you can try it out and see if it works for you. It's worked countless times for me, and once I knew this, I could start to see that women were giving me compliance tests, and I immediately advanced to the next level with my interactions with women. Now, this tip is called adding your own terms. Now the reason why this works is because keep in mind that women aren't actually looking for a drink whenever they ask you to buy them a drink. Instead, they're looking for you to do whatever they want you to do, to see if you are used to having beautiful women in your life. To answer this is not to say yes or no. Instead, the answer will be to get them to do something for you first. The easiest way to get around this is to say something to the effect of, okay, I'll buy you a drink, but only if you do your best impersonation of Mick Jagger. So what you do is you're saying, listen, I will get you a drink. That's no problem. That's not a big deal. But I'll only do it if you entertain me first. So instead of saying, sure, I'll run to the bar and do whatever you want, because I'm afraid that if I don't do whatever you want, that then you're going to leave. You're saying instead, okay, look, I'm used to this happening a lot, so I don't really need to go buy girls' drinks all day. Instead, I will give it to you if you entertain me. So I'm exchanging something for the drink that I'm going to be giving you. And that's the easiest way to get around it. You'll find that women, about 90% of the time will go ahead and do a jig and laugh and do their best Mick Jagger, and then you'll go to the bar and you'll buy them a drink, and it won't be a big deal. Now she's going to be standing there and talking to you very differently now than she would have otherwise. If you had just said sure and then you ran to the bar and you got it for her, because that's lame. And guys who do that they're lame. So the second test, the congruence test, is when a woman insults you. Now this is one takes a little bit more time and a little bit more practice. But instead of sitting there and reacting in some kind of a way, instead of saying, well, why did you say that? Or that's really mean, or something worse like call her some kind of expletive. What I want you to do is instead, it's called plowing. And plowing essentially means that you're going to completely ignore whatever it is that she just said and continue talking as if nothing happened. Now this works about 70% of the time, and there are some other techniques that work a little bit more of the time, but they're a little bit more complicated, and we'll have to get into those in a later video. So for now, the best way to get over a congruence test, if a woman is insulting you, let's say that she says something like, that's a really stupid shirt, or why'd you buy that? I can't believe you wore it here. Now, what I want you to do is pretend as if she had said nothing at all. Now, I don't mean look down for a second and then look up and say a non sequitur. I don't mean sit there and stare for a minute. and then stutter and go, anyway, I don't mean anything. I mean, continue as if she had never said a word. You have to imagine that she's been sitting there quietly the entire time. And then you continue. And usually what will happen is she will just give up being insulting, and she won't try to do that anymore. Not only is that unpleasant, but it's rather annoying. So you want her to definitely stop doing that in general. And usually women who are very confident in themselves will not do this in the first place, but usually it means that if you do get it, that a woman is afraid that you're faking your confidence, which means she thinks that you're confident in the first place. And now the final test, the gender role test, is whenever a woman tries to lead the interaction in the beginning in order to see whether or not you are going to stand up and take control, or whether or not you're going to just kind of fold your cards and give up and sort of sit back and let her do all the hard work. There's a lot of information that you probably need to know about gender roles, but instead of getting into all that right now, I'm just going to go over what to do when a woman starts to tell you, where to go, what to do, things like that. So instead of denying them, I found the best way to get around the gender role test is to give her powerful and confident dominant body language. There are two types of body language. There are dominant body language traits and movements, and then there are also submissive body language traits and movements. Most women will attempt to give more dominant body language movements and have dominant body language traits in order to test to see if you are going to automatically give them submissive body language traits. That's a test here. So the one way that submissive body language might come out from you is that you when she starts to lead, you can ask yourself, do you lower your head? Do you drop your shoulders forward, or maybe even scrunch them up a little bit? Do you look down at the ground? Do you keep your feet closer together? If you do any of these things, especially all of these things, which most guys do, then you're showing her submissive body language. And when you show her submissive body language, she knows she can't show submissive body language. So she's going to be more of a leader and take on more of sort of the male gender role in the relationship moving forward, which is okay, except that you probably don't want that to happen, because you probably want to play the traditional male gender role yourself in the relationship. And you probably want her to play the female gender role so that you guys can connect, so you can fit together and work as a couple, especially. So instead, whenever she starts to lead the interaction a little bit more than you would like her to, remember to keep your head up. Keep your eyes at eye level. Keep your shoulders sort of back and down. Keep your legs just under shoulder width apart. And make sure you don't cross your arms or do any sort of guarded body language where you put something between your chest and herself anywhere. So crossing your arms would be one way, putting a drink in front of your chest, or holding something there in front of your chest, turning your body sideways. Just stand squared off and speak to her as if you don't even notice that she's trying to lead the interaction. And what she'll typically do is she will immediately start to respond back by giving you all the body language that you didn't give her. So she'll start to look down a little bit. She'll scrunch up her shoulders a little bit. She'll smile a little for her. Stand with her feet a little bit closer together. And this establishes a really powerful dichotomy and polarity in the relationship, in your interaction. It allows her to feel like she's able to be a woman, and it allows you to know that you're doing what is necessary to be a man. Now, these are the different ways to get past these 3 different tests. But let's go over now the 7 subtle mistakes that will absolutely destroy your chances with any attractive women, even if you just do one of them. So the first one is being needy. Now, this is widely misunderstood concept. It does not mean being uninterested. It means being not needy. The reason why I make that distinction is because most guys, including myself in the beginning, thought that they were the same thing. I thought that showing interest and showing that you were excited or interested or attracted to someone was the same as being needy. Now, what I ended up realizing is that's not the case at all. Being needy means that I have an outcome that I want to happen, like a kiss or something, from the very beginning of an interaction. So maybe that's getting her phone number that I want to happen, or wanting her to take me home, or take her home with me, or wanting to get a kiss, or just even to talk to her for a few hours, or whatever it is, and enjoy her company. Even if I have some sort of desire, some sort of need that I want to meet during this conversation or this interaction, then I come across automatically as being too strong, too needy, too clingy, and that turns off a woman instantly. So instead, it's important that you find a way to be non-needy and show interest at the same time. Now, it can be kind of difficult to do. It takes a little bit of practice. But one way to do that is to use what I call positive tongue, negative body language. That brings me into the next sort of number two of the biggest mistakes that men make that ruin their chances with women. And it's giving too much positive body language. Like I said before, there are two types of body language. There are dominant and submissive body language types. That's one. And then there are also positive and negative body language types, which is very different than the different styles of body language that I showed you earlier. That would be to give, from dominant and submissive. Positive and negative body language shows how much you are facing your body toward them when you're interacting with them. Now, if you're being needy, you will give them too much positive body language, which means you will face them directly. You might lean in. You'll never turn your body away because you're afraid that if you turn your body away from them, she's going to lose interest in you